hear it all the time. Manifest it. Or those who are a little less woo-woo, you have to grind 24/7 if you want to make it in this world. But what's the real formula for success? In today's episode, we're breaking down the balance between mindset and action, because one without the other is like trying to drive a car with no gas, or gas but no engine. This episode stemmed from a conversation we had at dinner a couple weeks ago, because I believe in a lot of things, and I believe that to be where I am today was a very interesting series of events, but also a massive mindset shift. And so not everyone believes in manifestation or the woo-woo side of things, but I feel like manifestation has become like a buzzword, like a key cute topic for social media, when in reality, it really is about mindset and action, because it really does take you shifting your perspective, your vision, your mission, and then having to have a certain level of action in order to execute what you're looking to achieve. And so I highly encourage you for this episode, you may need to pause this right now and grab your badass blueprint, because if you have it, you know at the end of it, there is a journal space. Or if you don't have your copy yet, 1, order it. 2, grab a piece of paper, because at the end of each section of today's podcast, I'm going to give you a reflection prompt that's going to make sure that you're not just listening and becoming a hoarder of information. It's going to be so that you can actually take action on your life. Now, let's get into it. The power of vision, manifestation starts in the mind. And you're probably like, duh, Gina, obviously. But here's the thing. You can't build a life if you don't see it first in your mind. If you don't believe it's possible for you, you'll never take the action to create it. And I feel like this is the side of manifestation I am on, where I believe in vision, introspection. I believe in truly curating yourself to become the elevated version required of the next step that you want to take in your life. I don't necessarily think manifestation is sitting down, meditating, and pretending you're in your dream life, so to speak, and then it just happens. I really do believe that clarity is king, and in order to transition your life to the next level, you have to define your dream. Most people actually don't struggle with execution. They struggle with knowing what they actually want, not what society says, not what their family expects, but what do they truly desire? If you don't define your dream, how are you ever going to reach it? Our brain is wired to solve problems. If you give it a clear goal, it will look for ways to make it happen. And this is something that I definitely am wholeheartedly like a believer in, because I am a problem solver. Nothing makes me happier or more validated than helping somebody, supporting somebody, or when somebody needs something, making sure that they get it. And so for this section, you have a journaling exercise, and we do this in the Badass Blueprint, very in depth. We've talked about this in the beginning of 2025, but now it's March. It's about to be April when you actually hear this. And at this point, people are either pedal to the metal or they've forgotten even why they started in the first place. So I want you to write your vision as if it's already happened. Not the I want to be successful, because that's lame and we're not getting anywhere with that. But I want it to be one of those power affirmation versions where you are already writing as if it's happened. I am running a thriving business. I am living in my dream home. I am making an impact daily. But you know, here at the Unfiltered Trainer and at the Badass Blueprint, that is a basic ass statement, right? You have to carefully curate your life by being as specific as possible. And we talk about this in the Badass Blueprint because this vision that you are going to make for your life has to be so clear, it feels like you could touch it. And so truly start from the moment you wake up. Where are you at? What does that room look like? When you wake up, how does your day start? what does your day look like? And go through it line by line, step by step, hour by hour. And I need you. If you're not a woo-woo person, I need you to just wholeheartedly believe me in what I'm about to say. Please remove any stigma, any limiting beliefs, any opinions or restrictions of people's opinions before you do this, because in order to see what your desired life is going to look like, you can't have limiting beliefs or the opinions of others in your head. Here's the deal. Energy flows where attention goes. Have you ever noticed when you want something, whether it's a new car, a job, an opportunity, you suddenly start seeing things everywhere? It's not magic. It's not woo-woo. That's called reticular activating system, your RAS at work. What you focus on expands. If you focus on obstacles, you'll see more obstacles. If you focus on opportunities, they will start to appear. How do I know this is true? If you have been in my life, you know that 2 and 3 years ago, there's a period of my life where everything that could have happened that was bad happened. It also was a financially extremely stressful time. And it was as if we all joked, honestly, that if I didn't have bad luck, I would have no luck at all. Why? Because I was fixated on how shitty my life was and how bad things were going. And as a result, guess what? The universe gave me 10 times more of it because I wasn't doing anything to change my life. I was just, woe is me, pissed off at the world, fixated on how shitty things were. And guess what? I just kept getting more of it because I wasn't deserving of a better quality of life because I wasn't doing anything to better myself. That's why gratitude and affirmations work. And I know, guys, believe me, that this is hard because nothing feels weirder than staring in a mirror, telling yourself that you're a badass, that you are deserving of life, you are deserving of success, but they're beneficial because you have to train your brain to notice the good. There are people like myself who used to literally only see the negative, and if something went wrong, then it was so on brand, right? I would say, oh, that's so on brand for me. Oh my God, like I would like to slap myself 2 years ago because I was only fixated on everything that was happening to me instead of realizing that my life was blowing up and it was happening for me to get the hell out and transition into where I was meant to go because I was going down the wrong dark path and I was driving the car to get there. You really do have to flip a switch on your mindset. And I fully understand that there are people who come from where I come from, who have been through what I've been through, that it is very hard to think that things are going to work out for us. So we have to intentionally take the time to shift from I never get opportunities, I'm always stressed out financially, to I'm always in the right place at the right time for success. And abundance is something that is destined for us, not something that will always be a fleeting image of what we want to have, but what isn't possible. The next step in this is to embody the future persona that you are going to become. The biggest block to success is staying attached to our old identities. And I'm smiling, and you can't see me smiling right now because I wish I was staring at a mirror as I'm filming this podcast because I'm talking to myself, and I feel like I'm talking to a lot of you. We are defined by our lives, and because of that, we stay stuck because we stay attached. If you see yourself as not the kind of person who is successful, guess what, honey? You ain't gonna be successful. But if you start showing up as the version of you that you want to become, then you already have what you want, which puts you in alignment. So then when you change your habits and your environment and your self-talk and you become the person you want to become, wins is just a regular part of life. And now you're acting as if it's already happened, and weirdly, it will happen. Now, how do I know this is possible? Because the law of assumption versus the law of attraction. These are real. Manifestation isn't about hoping. It is not some woo-woo TikTok video that says just sit in a field somewhere or stare at a beautiful house you want and watch it come true. You can't assume things. That's not what manifestation is. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. See? Do you hear that? Listen to that. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. If you're constantly questioning whether you'll be successful, you're putting out the energy of doubt. Instead, assume success is inevitable and act accordingly. Hello to my baddies. You know we talk about this in my book. You are who you think you are, and you become the sum of those you surround yourself with. Successful people do not waste their time wondering if it's going to happen. They focus on when and how, and the how should be underlined and bolded because successful people do the work time and time again. So as a result, manifestation is actually a co-creation. It's not a magic wand, although I wish that Harry Potter was real because we could just swish and flick and make things happen and life would be wonderful. But reality, unfortunately, it's not. So let's get real. Manifestation is not sitting in a room just visualizing and just waiting for the day that it shows up. Manifestation only works when you align your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Heavy emphasis on actions. You have to meet the universe halfway. You want a dream, you got to show up for it. In order to do that, we have to see the vision as the first step. So now that we are understanding that this is going to be a multi-step, fascinating, tangible, sometimes stressful process because it's going to take some work. Now let's talk about bringing it to life. In this journal prompt, I want you now to think about what does your dream life look like? Again, we're going to describe it as if it's already happened, but now we're going to take it one step further. How do you feel living it? Like your genuine emotions, thoughts, response. How do you feel living it? Once you've done that, we're going to go into phase number 2 of today's podcast, which is called aligned action. This is where dreams meet reality because manifesting without action, that's just called daydreaming. Action without vision is just busy work. The magic happens when you do both. Clarity must be followed by strategy. Too many people get stuck in the idea stage. They get all excited, they're dreaming big, but they never put pen to paper. As a result, they don't make a plan and then they fail. So if you want to be successful, you have to break your goals into steps. You have to reverse engineer your success. What needs to happen this month, this week, today, and then you can create a plan because if you have a goal or a dream or a vision and you don't have a plan, you out here just wishing. And I can tell you something that you can wish all you want, but ain't shit gonna happen. There's a compound effect of small, consistent actions. It does not have to be bold events. For me, for a great example, I own Sweating Together for a Cause. We host dynamic events around Tampa, various different types of events. They can't all be grandiose events because reality, full disclosure, I have been touring venues and having a lot of important conversations behind the scenes, and I have yet to get a quote for an event space that's less than $10,000. So honestly, it's more so about small, consistent actions over time that yield great success because it can't be about grandiose ideas because it won't work. Success isn't built on the grand gestures. It's built on the small boring daily actions that no one sees, that don't get you any recognition, because the way you do one thing is a reflection of how you're going to do everything. So you have to do the small things well. And the big things, they eventually just take care of themselves. So stop looking for shortcuts. You have to master the basics first. And eventually you will watch as you kind of take this little step towards being more successful. There is a myth that we're going to address. And that's this myth of overnight success. Social media, and we've talked about it before, has got people thinking that success happens overnight. It doesn't. And that you can just manifest a dream life making millions and not doing any work. And it won't happen. Every quote unquote overnight success that you see is actually built on years of unseen work. Those people were patient. They kept going even when they didn't see instant results. Most of the people that you see that are extremely successful also failed and failed forward and failed often. The ones who make it are the ones that don't quit when things get hard. They instead just pivot. How does this happen? Honestly, you have to take inspired action versus hustle culture. And if you're not quite sure about hustle culture, circle back a couple episodes because we talked about it. Hard work is necessary. Burnout, though, is not. Aligned action means working smart, not just hard. And this is me learning this myself because I used to be a very big hypocrite and I would just work myself to death and I was miserable and I was not getting to the level of success I had hoped for. And this is where intuition is really important because you have to listen to what your gut's telling you, because sometimes rest becomes the most productive thing you can do. Too often we are hustling without purpose, and instead it's just glorified exhaustion. Like, I feel like sometimes, especially in Tampa, you see this. There's like a weird competition problem. We've talked about this so many times, but like then people compare their exhaustion. It's like weirdly a trophy, when in reality, that doesn't necessarily mean you're more successful. You might just be actually on the other side of where you're supposed to be because you're actually not doing things that are productive that push the needle forward. And that's where accountability comes into play because our environment matters significantly. Your success is shaped by who and what you surround yourself with. So just think about these next few things. And you may see some red flags or things you might have to adjust in your life. Are you around people who inspire you, or are you around people that drain you? Are you around people who are genuinely happy for you, or are you around energy suckers that see your success and as a result they hate on you? Systems and structure is what's going to carry you when your motivation fades. And I know everybody likes to make fun of me for my OCD and my planner and my spreadsheets, but straight up, the reason why I get shit done and I can do all that I do it well and not feel burnout, like I feel tired because my passions are being fulfilled, but I'm not burnt out. And that's because I have very specific systems in place and I have procedures and processes and I follow them to a T every single time I have an event or I have a launch. And that is how I track my progress and I hold myself accountable. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a game changer. Now, action without belief feels forced, right? If you've ever tried to do something or went after a goal and it just wasn't happening, it's because we were forcing it. But belief without action is simply a dream. So how do you bridge the gap? This is where we're going to insert a journal prompt because there are small, consistent actions that you can commit to daily that will bring your vision to life and that will help you ensure that you're not forcing something that's not meant to be and you're not just having outlandish dreams that aren't possible. So as we transition into talking more about mindset, I want you to really sit with yourself and think about all of the small, little actionable steps that if you committed every single day to, how could that level you up so that you become in line with the vision you want to bring to life? Once you've done that, let's talk mindset. Mindset mastery, overcoming fear and self-doubt, is something that those who are truly striving for success or trying to level up in their job or start a business or start, even like a podcast, or maybe you want to write a book. There's always going to be periods of your life as you level up where you will start, honestly, sabotaging yourself. You will start doubting yourself and you will be terrified. I was scared as all get out to launch my book, straight up, because it literally is me. It is something that I have thought about for a very long time, and it is a very direct, real, actionable book, guide, journal, whatever the hell you want to call it, that is very inspiring and empowering. But it's also me bearing my soul on a piece of paper and putting it out there for the world, knowing damn well people may love it, people may hate it, people may not even read it, they may not even buy it. What I've learned is that our thoughts are either fueling our success or they're sabotaging it. Reality, that's our choice, and we need to choose wisely. Imposter syndrome and limiting beliefs are a natural part of life, and they are a natural part of trying to become more successful. People don't fear failure. They fear being seen for trying and then not succeeding. We're not scared that we're going to fail. We're just scared that we put ourselves out there and it bites us in the ass and it doesn't happen. Your mind will try to convince you you're not ready. And if you wait until you do feel quote unquote ready, you're never going to start. The only way to stop feeling like an imposter is to keep showing up anyways. Even when it's not convenient, even when things aren't going your way, maybe even if something flops, you got to show up for yourself regardless. Failure has a role in success that is honestly necessary because it is part of the process. Every single time you get a no, you get closer to the more aligned yes. Rejection is not personal. It truly is the best redirection you will ever find. 2 years ago, I was massively rejected in an environment that I was emotionally tied to, and it literally broke me. And I did not know how I was going to move past it. And then as, the dust settled and the tears faded, I had to ask myself, what is this teaching me? It was a very, 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 very valuable lesson because I was somewhere I didn't belong. I was not doing things that were good for me. And because of it, I was going down the wrong path and I was losing sight of where I was meant to be. And so if you failed or something didn't go as well as you thought it would, ask yourself, what valuable life lesson are you supposed to be learning? Because of failure, you will develop something called emotional resilience, and it will enable you to master your inner critic. Your inner critic, she's loud. And when you step outside of your comfort zone, she gets a little bold in the way she says things. The key isn't to silence that fear. It's to act despite it. You have to reframe your doubt. And instead of saying, what if this doesn't work? Or what if this does flop? For me, what if no one bought my book? In my head, I have to think about it as, what if this actually does work? What if people buy this book and because of this book, they're steered in the right direction like I needed something to steer me in the right direction? What if this book helps people change their lives? And you get to have a part in being somebody that's making an impact. Your comfort zone is not where your next level exists. So be mindful of that because the fear of success, yes, it is real. But when you become successful, your success comes with responsibility. So ask yourself, are you afraid of who you'll have to become? Are you afraid maybe of who you have to let go, who can't come along with you? And maybe think about this, because you might be afraid that when you do achieve this kind of success and more eyes are on you, people will hold you to a higher standard, because growth requires letting go of the old versions of ourselves. And that means letting go of those who are genuinely not happy for you. So take this opportunity to step into your power and stop shrinking from it. Now, as we start to transition towards the end of this journey we've gone on in this podcast, we're going to talk about the role of faith and trust so that you can let go of control. And I want to use a disclaimer, because when I say faith, that could mean if you have religious beliefs, fantastic for you. That could mean if you're somebody that trusts in the universe, also fantastic for you. Faith is not something I personally believe is limited to words in a religious book. I think faith, quote unquote, comes down to a belief system that aligns with who you are and where you're going to go. So I feel like transitioning into this last portion of the podcast, when I say the role of faith and trust, I mean the role of the entity that drives your life and that aligns with who you are, because I do not believe that there is one religion, one book, or one belief system that is right for everybody, nor do I believe that it is our duty to force our belief systems onto other people who have differing beliefs. So let's get into it. You're doing the work, right? You're showing up. But what happens when things don't go as planned? This is where this trust comes into play. The first step in order to make this happen is to surrender the how. One of the biggest reasons people quit is because they expect the journey to look a certain way. When it doesn't, they assume that it's not working out because it wasn't meant to be. Our job is to show up, period. End of sentence. The how will eventually unfold in ways you never expected. I'm a prime example of this, my friends. When 2 years ago, because May is right around the corner, 2 years ago, you guys know if you've listened to the podcast, I saw a need in Tampa. So I decided to combine my favorite things, which is fitness and philanthropy. And I hosted this event, terrified because I was like, 5-year-old at a birthday party thinking nobody was going to show up. I just knew that I had a platform, I had a community, I had a network, and I had the ability to make shit happen. So I hosted my first charitable wellness event. Needless to say, if you've been around, you know that event was wildly successful. And what I thought was just a one-time thing has now become its own entity and the driving force behind why I work so damn hard. I didn't see that happening. I did not see that path. I did not think that's what was going to happen out of that event. I generally thought we were doing something once and that was going to be it. The path to success is rarely linear. Usually it's messy, it's unpredictable, it's full of detours, but every detour comes with a valuable life lesson that enables you to get to the next phase. And that is why we have to trust that what's meant for us won't ever miss us. Second, very, very important thing that for those of us striving for success have to do, we have to release the timeline that we set for ourselves. Sadly, we live in a world of instant gratification. I call it the microwave nation because everybody wants things immediately, but true success that you have that enables you to have a lasting impact is something that's built over time. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean that it's not already in the works. That delay that you might be experiencing doesn't mean denial. You have to trust in the divine timing of God or the universe or whatever you believe in, that things are falling into place even when you can't see them. And I tell people all of the time, when I was in my very introspective period of time for like 6 months, when I was in my apartment, not really going anywhere, doing anything, trying to recover from the really severe months of my TBI, I had to sit with myself. And there was a lot of tears and a lot of conversations and a lot of thoughts. And it made me realize that I was killing myself. I genuinely was. I was working so hard and so many things weren't happening, and I was fighting it tooth and nail because I'm so stubborn. And I was like, where there's a will, there's a way, and I'm going to find that way, and I'm going to bulldoze through whatever I need to bulldoze through. And I was just stupid and stubborn. But the reality was, when I let go of my timeline and my expectations, I released control and realized that these things, if they are meant for me, will happen when they are meant to happen. But I can't control the timeline of my life. So, the third phase of this is that we're going to take action without attachment. There's a fine line, y'all, between being committed and being desperate. When you force an outcome, you create resistance. We all know this. This is my life. This might be your life too. Work hard, but you have to let go of the need for things to happen exactly as you imagine. They're not going to, but I am living proof that if you keep working and you stay in alignment and just keep coming from a genuine place and stay open, they're not going to happen the way you imagine. They're going to be far better than you ever could have hoped for. Faith versus fear. Faith and fear are both required when you believe in something that you can't see. The difference is, which one are you going to choose? The fear you're experiencing is telling you, what if it doesn't work? What if you wasted your time? What if you wasted your money? But that inherent belief system, whether you want to call it faith or alignment, is going to be the positive little angel on your side, so to speak, that says, but what if it does work out? What if amazing things happen because of it? What if your entire life is about to change and you're pumping the well and you don't realize that things are about to flourish? Fear will always keep you small, while faith will truly expand your possibilities, and it'll create a vision that you didn't see possible. You don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to be willing to take the next step. In the universe, when you do, will respond to that certainty. People who know they're going to succeed, they move differently. They breathe differently. They truly are different in every aspect of their life. They don't question their success, they embody it. They have this energy about them that they bring to their work that literally determines their results. So if you don't believe in yourself right now, why would anybody else? Now that we've mastered trust, let's talk about what happens when you finally break through. And this is where we're going to insert a journal prompt. Where in your current life do you need to surrender control? And I want you to think about this. How, when you think about where you are going to let go of control, how can you trust the process more? Like, what are you going to do to wholeheartedly believe what you're going after is going to be possible? The breakthrough moment, becoming the person who wins. Success isn't just about what you do, it's about who you become in the process. Your identity shapes your reality. You can set all the goals you want, but if you don't see yourself as somebody who achieves them, you're going to sabotage yourself every single time. The biggest transition isn't going to be external, it's going to be internal. Who do you need to become to achieve what you want to achieve? That is like a monumental statement, because the moment you fully own your identity and become that person, everything shifts. I hope you've realized now, as we've had this conversation today, that success, it's an energy first and it's reality second. You don't earn success, you align with it. The reason people attract opportunities is because they carry the energy of knowing they belong in that room. It doesn't come down to luck. It's confidence, it's preparation, it's consistency over and over and over. People feel your energy before you even speak. So be mindful of the energy you're putting out into the universe. In order to level up and be successful, there is a necessary level of bold decisions, and power will come from that. Playing small is a choice, but when you step into your power, amazing things will happen. Every major breakthrough that will happen comes from a decision that scares the shit out of you. So stop waiting for permission and stop seeking validation from others. Successful people take risks and they make moves regardless of if they feel ready. So this is where that shift needs to happen from wanting something to embodying it. It's the final step, is when we stop wanting success and we truly embody it. Wanting success feels like, I hope I can, versus if we embody success, I already am. Wanting success keeps success in the future. Embodying success brings it into the present. So move like the version of you who already made it happen. Listen, guys, this is your defining moment. Right now, you are at a crossroads and you have two choices. You can either keep waiting, keep doubting, keep overthinking, or you can decide that from this moment forward, you are the person who wins, because everything changes the moment you decide to stop playing small. All right, y'all, I'm giving you the ultimate call to action today. Success isn't reserved for the lucky. It's reserved for the ones who decide they're done waiting. Who decides that no matter how long it takes, no matter how many times they fail, no matter how many doubts creep in, they are the one and it's going to happen. So the only question left to ask you in today's episode is, are you ready to step up and claim what's already meant for you? Here's your final journal prompt. What decision are you making today that will literally change the trajectory of your life? Write it down, think on it, and take massive action. All right, y'all, that's all I got for you today. If you haven't yet, take this opportunity to go buy the Badass Blueprint on Amazon, because it literally goes hand in hand with today's episode. And I truly believe that the energy has shifted for people in 2025, and this is the year to make shit happen. So if you've been in a place that you feel stuck or small, or that what's been put on your heart isn't going to happen, realize that it's a belief and mindset shift that is required to get to where you're meant to go, and stop making it more difficult by questioning if you deserve it or if it's going to happen. Start believing in yourself, start embodying the person that you want to become, and watch your life freaking change. All right, y'all, stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next episode.